I'm Pops, and yes, I'm talking about Black Mirror. This is a episode 2 reaction review. Call it what you will. And I'm a total noob for all you people who hit me up with Easter egg stuff and comments. I don't get them all. I know that they're there, especially at the end of this episode. But Loch Henry, let me give you my thoughts, my reaction to it. And I will say, I have to be honest, and I don't have 5 seasons before this to compare it to, but I'm enjoying the show. I thought it was good. This was really dark, very edgy, interesting. I'm not real familiar with the creative team or even a lot of these cast members, to be perfectly honest. Um, I just thought that it all was executed very well. It was good. It was shot well. It was edited well. All those kinds of things. Um, so Loch Henry centers around two film students who are boyfriend girlfriend. That's Davis and Pia, and they're going to go home and visit Davis's mom. She lives in this place in Scotland called Loch Henry, hence the name. They're going to do a documentary, and there's like a local egg collector or something. And in turn, during their visit, they end up start discussing. They meet a childhood friend named Stuart. They start discussing this story about Ian Adair. Ian Adair, I think is how you say his name. Is a local guy. He'd murdered and tortured tourists. It devastated the economy of the area because it become this really weird place. He threatened other people, and it impacted everybody. Davis's dad is in charge of the police. He'd gotten shot and injured during this process of capturing him, and ended up getting. He later died from like a MRSA infection in the hospital from the gunshot wound. Right. There's also impact to Stewart's dad as well, because Stewart threw him out of the pub and all this other stuff was done with. So Pia really convinces Davis. She's the one who really promotes this idea of, well, we should be talking about that. That's actually interesting. We have your personal take on it. We can do these interviews. We can recreate some stuff. We can get some ideas. They start doing that, and they use they're taping over. They find this whole video camera. They're making it look like older footage and those kinds of things, and that's what they're basically doing. That's kind of the entire centerpiece of the movie and how things actually go before it kind of goes sideways. The show. One, there we go. Okay. Um, this is just them showing up. I don't know. I was trying to look to see real quick. Um, where it was filmed. I didn't really see. Let's see. Let's see where it was filmed. There's the first. Oh, it actually was filmed in Scotland, right? Loch Lomond. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's filmed in Scotland. Beautiful. There's some beautiful shots in this film. There's drone shots. There's nice scenery shots and all that kind of thing. And there they are. And Pia is kind of what I expected. She wasn't nearly as cringe as she was in the first few minutes of the film. Like, there's a couple of moments where she kept saying ditto and the lady doesn't understand her. She keeps repeating herself as though saying something multiple times that someone doesn't understand makes them magically understand. Same thing as like if someone doesn't hear you, people just say it louder or they say it slow. It's like, well, you know, um, I hate the idea of like the obnoxious, sex in the house cliche that they did. They do that. Um, but other than that, the opening's pretty generic, and it's mostly them just unpacking the different. There's the reference to the intimacy there, and there's Stewart. Stewart, I don't understand exactly the caricature of Stewart, but I also don't hate the caricature of Student. Like he's fine. Um, I know he's from Game of Thrones. I don't really remember who he is on Game of Thrones or anything like that. But yeah, I know he's in Game of Thrones. I just can't remember the name of the character that he's in. Um, but yeah, he's fine. Um, everything in the show is good. I'm not going to say it's great, knocks your socks off or anything like that. It's just all very good, and they're going about their business. And everything is creepy and eerie because, like I said, they're investigating like old murders and stuff, right? So all of that makes sense. That it is awkward and uncomfortable and weird, and all these conversations are great. So there's not a lot of set pieces here. They're mostly in that bar. And there's this thing about the VHS tape and the VCR because they had taped the show that the mom likes called Bergerac, and there's like he's like a handsome actor from back then, that kind of thing. And they're working on this film, and they actually filmed the mom briefly. They're trying to do, like that was them in the bunny suits going in to look, and they're kind of freaked out over everything, right? Now, this is when the story makes a major twist and turn. So if you don't want spoilers, this would be your spoiler warning. Up until this point, there's really nothing. This is just this basically as much as the show has been, this is actually the point of the show where things sort of like take a big turn, basically. So if you don't want those kind of spoilers, you don't want anything like that, this would be your chance to come back later and let me know what you think, if you agree with my assessment or not. So anyway, um, so there's a big accident that happens, and come to find out it's Stewart's dad. So the three of them hit him, and or vice versa. And Pia, who is unharmed in the accident, she goes on back to the house with the mom, and she's there working on the editing of the project. And Stewart's dad is going to start confronting Davis. So you have these two storylines, and you knew there was going to be a twist. You knew there was going to be a dark turn, but you don't really know exactly where it's going to come from or how it's going to manifest itself. Um, 'Cause I kind of was wrong. I kind of thought it was going to be, Stewart's dad more, but it's not. And they kind of get me. Maybe that's why I liked it, because I actually didn't quite know. I guess the thing is, I didn't know how extreme they would go. I didn't really, and maybe that's because I haven't watched the show before, so I didn't know the frame of reference. How far will they go? What won't they do? What will they do? That kind of thing. So I don't have that frame of reference. So it made me probably like this a little bit more from the sense of, it being dark and surprised me. I will say this: I just, of the cast and some of the stuff, I didn't care for how Pia, the actress, and I don't know exactly why. Like, I don't even know, her name is hard for me to pronounce. It's Maha Mahala 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 Harold. She's an actress. She's known for some stuff I haven't seen. I don't know any of these things that she's been in until I saw this, and that's not bad or good. It's just that's just how it is. Uh, I don't know. I don't know how to put my finger on it exactly. I don't. She wasn't really irritating either. She just was okay. Everything was just okay. Anyways, so let me try to find a spot in this footage here. The mom is checking on her because she was cooking. Well, come to find out, that they've been taping over these Bergerac VHS tapes, and in the process, one of them, they're done. They kind of like stop where they footage, so the show kind of reverts itself to what was actually on the tape, and that's where the truth is unveiled. And the truth is extremely dark. The street is extremely dark, and you end up with like a complete dark, crazy scenario where Pia realizes that it was really the mom and the dad. They're into like total kink. It turned violent. It turned bloody because he was the sheriff. He was in on it with this crazy loon that they pinned everything on, and that's how it all goes sideways. Pia starts running and she gets hurt. And that was kind of like foreshadowed early in the episode, which I think is fine because we don't always get callbacks. Sometimes these modern filmmakers are doing things and we don't get callbacks to stuff they do. So I will say it was pretty good to have a little bit of that. So there's the mom, and she puts on her kink mask that was on the wall the whole time. And she know she doesn't really know what happens to Pia. So she just assumes she's going to be caught. So her solution is just put it all out there, gives her son all the information. She puts all the VHS tapes there, leaves him a note, and just takes care of herself. And it was like, okay. So because I say I like it, I want to be clear because this show in a lot of ways is like kind of anticlimactic. Like it doesn't, there's no real like oomph. It just sort of like, okay, it happens. And because the audience knows that P is not a threat, there's no tension. The air comes out of the balloon. Like she didn't have to do this. If she didn't know this happened, she could have just done nothing, and Pia would have just run off. And well, why did she run off? Well, I don't know. She went outside. She said she needs some fresh air. Where'd she go? What was she doing? I went looking for her and I couldn't find her. Something like that. No. Now, so the end, which is what I'm going to call the twist. The real cool twist was that the film goes forward. Davis finishes the film and they produce this like commercial and it gets awards and stuff. And this stuff here of how this is handled after the fact or whatever, this was some of the best part of the whole episode. All of this. And then this is him at the award ceremony and winning the award and all of that. And then it kind of ends with him just getting drunk and there's like a mass there or whatever, because that's where the award is made or whatever. But this sort of like squeezed in documentary and how it was handled, the way it was promoted and all that with the stuff that we've seen, that was really interesting and kind of cool. So what it made me think about was how many times people would just exploit the ills of others to make a documentary to make a buck, right? It's just like that kind of thing. And Davis is kind of caught up in the middle of that where he has actually done that to himself. He actually got his wish. He wanted to be a filmmaker that everybody knows or likes or respects or whatever, but it comes at the expense of being part of his story. He has to exploit his own family, his parents and their reputation and all of that because they were monsters. You know, what if your parents are monsters? What if your family was monsters? You know, we always talk about like these people on the TV. It's like, you know, their sibling or son. It's like, oh, you know, they were such good boys. I never saw it coming. Blah blah blah. And it's like, well, what if that's your mom or your dad? Ooh, ooh, heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. So anyway, that's my take on it. I know my take is probably very divisive because again, no frame of reference. And not all the Easter eggs. Like I know that when they were doing the film thing, they were showing other films, and those films link to other things. I only know that because of thumbnails. You people spoil massive things in thumbnails. It's like I don't understand this whole non-spoiler approach to things, but you put it in the thumbnail, so therefore it's a spoiler. So I guess that's what we do now. Anyway, that's my take on this. I'm sure you guys will tell me what you think. Thanks for watching, hanging out with me. I am Pops.